Alright, so let's learn how to use Slider Revolution Responsive plugin to make a basic slider, put it on a WordPress website, and generally have it look pretty good enough to basically sell a website to a client. So follow along and we'll see how to do it. First step is just going to be to download the plugin. We're going to download the installable WordPress file only and save it. And your theme might come with Slider Revolution. If it's a premium theme, it might come bundled, in which case it probably has a special area to put the slider. In our case, we're just using Elementor on a basic WordPress install, which is this right here. Alright, we want to put the slider in, so let's go to the dashboard, plugins, add new, upload plugin, choose file, should be in our downloads folder, so find the entire .zip you just downloaded from ThemeForest, double click it, install now, activate. Alright, now we get the Slider Revolution tab. Let's click on that. We're going to go with a new blank module. I guess it's morning right now. Good morning, Slider Revolution. Quit the guide. Right away it looks kind of confusing, kind of like Photoshop. There's just so many options and a blank screen. So let's fill in the blank screen with an add slide option. We're going to add slide, blank slide. Next, we're going to hover on Add Layer, Image, and WordPress Library. And grab yourself a cute background image. There you go, and insert it. Click and drag the image to position it into place. Now you might see only a small part of the image, and that's because we're only looking at a small part of the slider. But what I want you to do right now is just click and drag the image so you can actually grab one of the corners. And then we're going to actually just resize that. By pulling it inwards, you can see the image will resize, because we want to be able to see our entire image. And I'm just pulling my mouse way off the screen. It's really weird. Kind of pulling it inwards goes bigger and outwards goes smaller. Okay, in any case, once we have our image, just position it as far as you can to the upper left. Then you can come over to size presets and change it from custom size to full width, or even maybe cover. So we can X out of our transition editor right here, but clearly we're going to have to see how this image looks on an actual website before we know how big it is. I'm going to hit Command Z to get that back. So let's just keep editing here. We're going to click Add Layer and go for a shape. Alright, and for the shape we're going to stretch it the full width of the slider. We want this to be a nice little overlay text box. Alright, and then once you get the full width, just bring it down to the bottom of our editing window, so it touches the bottom of the screen. You can see when you grab one part of the shape, just like the image, and pull it in, you might get the opposite result you thought you'd get. That's just because Slider Revolution is a little bit wonky. Alright, so lastly we're going to add layer. We're going to click on text, quick style content. Alright, and as you can see, if we click it multiple times, it'll give us more than one text. We don't want that, so we're just going to click on the layers, delete, delete, and then we have our new layer. We can drag it over the overlay. Alright, you can change the font on the right if you want. You can also use the headline selectors to change the font. And then just by inserting your mouse rather awkwardly on top of the new layer, or by right-clicking Edit Content, you can start editing the content itself. For me, it was just a double click, and I'm going to actually delete the new layer text and write to learn more about our business. Click here. Alright, so obviously we want to make a link now on click here. Let's double click on click here. Or we can just click and drag it. As you can see, Slider Revolution has become more difficult than anyone would really want, unless you're an expert at it already, which of course we're not if we're watching this tutorial right here. So I'm just trying to highlight some text, like highlight, click, and here. It's not working at the moment. Maybe we can click content, and that would work, but that's not working either. And by removing the headline option, we see we now get our text box. Perfect. So what you need to do, because there's not a ton of the WordPress visual editor features in this text editing area, is actually write out a link, which is what we did in the old slider revolution. Not a big deal. Just write out the open bracket, ahref equals https://www.google.com, close quotes, close alligator bracket, and then close the ahref tag, and you'll get your link. Obviously this would go to somewhere on your site, like your about page or your services page. Alright, and before we get our slider live, we are going to take the shape down here in our animation editor, and we're going to drag it inwards so it shows up a little bit later. And we're going to drag the text as well so it shows up just after the shape. Alright, we're now ready to insert the slider onto a web page. Let's make sure we title it something different, like homepage slider instead of just slider 1, and save it. And because I don't trust Slider Revolution to save our work whatsoever, I'm going to open up our site in a new tab, go to the dashboard again, click on Slider Revolution. We see we have homepage slider right here, so let's try to edit it. It's going to show us like absolutely nothing, so we're just wondering what happened. And what happened was it's just new slide number 2 we made, and new slide number 1 is like nothing. So what we want to do is click on number 1 new slide, content, hover on add layer, image, WordPress library. Alright, we're going to give ourselves one more image right here. Alright, cool, insert, and then just drag it as you see fit, and you can also click on size presets and cover. Perfect. Alright, so let's save this slide, and now I'm going to attempt to insert this slide onto a web page. How do we do that? Well, if we go back to the global page, we can click on the homepage slider, and it should give us some inserting onto a web page option. All we have to do is put in this short code right here, just double click, click copy, and now we're going to go to our homepage. Alright, we're going to edit with Elementor. We're going to open up a new section, and then we're going to pop in the shortcode option, and then we're just going to paste in our Slider Revolution shortcode and update it. And it's not going to look good right away, I guarantee it, but we're making something, we're doing it together, and that's what counts. Alright, so we have one image. In a moment we should have 2 images. There's our second image. Super scrunched, so let's learn what went wrong here. So if we go back to Slider Revolution, clearly the first image looks good, but if we click to the number 2 new slide, we got some problems. So first is the background image. If we click on it, we dragged it into the wrong size. So what we want to do is actually just delete it, and then add layer, image, WordPress library again. We're going to re-add that image, insert it, drag it up into the corner if you can, and then you want to click on size and position and change that custom size to cover as well. Now we're going to scroll down to where our text might be. Where would our text be? Maybe it's gone. But if we hover on top of the text layer itself right here, it'll show up. So you can click on that and right click on this, and you might need to bring that to the front. If you need to do that, you just click on top of the layer and drag it above the image. There you go. Now we're going to close our animation window and make sure that text is all the way at the bottom. Alright, and we can bring our animation window back up just by hovering on it. We're going to bring our shape up actually to above the image. close that window again and then drag the shape down so it is above the text, but as we can see, the text should be on top of the shape. It's a little bit hard to see when you're editing, I know, but it should show up nice and white on top of that darker overlay. So let's save it now and let's see what we made. We're going to go to our home page and hit on the logo to refresh it. Alright, so we have one image. Wait for it. And now we should have a second image. There it is with a nice little overlay text on top of it. Of course, the images are different sizes, so it doesn't really make sense here at all. But actually the images are the same size, it's just the text shows up at a weird location on top of the image. So what can we do here to make this actually look good? Well, first and foremost, we want to go back to Elementor, and we want to go to Advanced, and we're going to refresh the page because now we have a newer slider. And we're going to realize that the shortcode widget is actually not quite good enough for us. So I'm going to cut that out of there. I'm going to delete the shortcode, and we're going to actually put this in just a simple text editor. Alright, so instead of that text, we get our shortcode, easy as that, and update it. Now let's see how that looks. Alright, same old. Nice thing is now we can click on the settings for this text editor. We can make that content full width, no gap, and update. We can see what we did there. So we'll refresh that. Now we should at least have more of a consistent looking image on top and bottom. Very good. Our second image should show up in a second. Alright, cool. We just want that image to be full width all the way through now. So let's stretch the section and update it again. And refresh that bad boy. Alright, still not cooperating. We're going to delete our cache with our Chrome cache trash button. Okay, so a problem you might encounter with the strategy we've used is that the image just goes too big because we're using the whole image. One way to solve that would be to crop the image itself, like use a more narrow image right here. So for example, that second image, it goes all the way top to bottom, but this first image is just like not as tall. So one way to do that would be to crop the image, just make it a certain height. Okay, so if you're in Slider Revolution and you're on size and position and the background image, you can actually choose a custom size as well, which will give us a custom height option. We could adjust to maybe just an even 500. Doing that will bring our image up a little bit, of course. Let's save it and see what it would look like. And in fact, let's actually go to our first slide and do that to the first slide. So click on the image, size and position. Instead of cover custom size, let's try just a height of 500 and save it. Now let's see how things look. We're going to change that to full width here because that did not work. And refresh. Alright, well there you have it, guys. The images don't look consistent because they are different sizes. If we go to our self-hosted WordPress blog, dashboard, click on media, we can see the two images we're using, which are this image of the girl on the background here, the blue background is 1024 by 597, whereas our other image is way different, so we can actually edit the image, which is bigger, so it's 1024. Don't remember what the other one was though. It's 1024 by 597. I think that could be done with a little cropping. Let's try to edit the image. Alright, and let's crop it. I'm just going to click and hold and drag. and I'm going to make the selection 1024. Alright, now I'm going to hold shift and drag. Alright, cancel that. Edit image, and I'm going to make the new dimensions 1024 by whatever it is and just scale it down. Alright, now I'm going to click and hold and drag because the width is obviously 1024 and we just need 597 instead of the whole amount. So we can see, there we go, I am changing the selection 597, I was close. Now just drag it appropriately and crop it. And that is still not okay. We're going to restore the original image because WordPress is dumb. They don't understand. 1024. Well, we're off by 1 pixel, so we're going to have to change this image now. Edit image. We're going to have to drag it 1024 by 596 and crop it. Save it. And now we should have 2 images of exactly the same size. Let's go back to Slider Revolution. Refresh the page. Alright, so there's our original image. I'm going to click on it and delete it and click Image WordPress Library. There she is right there. Image has been resized. Just insert it. Click on the image, size and position, and cover, and save it. Now we're going to go to slides, number 2 slide. And I really hope that through all our fumbling around here, you are learning about how to make this slide your own. Add layer, image, WordPress library. Grab the other image we worked on. Alright, number 1 new slide. We're going to go to number 2 new slide. Okay, we need to re-add the image, so add layer, image, WordPress library. Grab the other image we worked on, which should now be the right size. Insert it up. Click on the image, size and position, custom size, cover. We're going to scroll down and see where that text ended up. Where's our text? Alright, it's all the way up here. So we're going to drag that text to the bottom. Where's our shape? Shape's all the way up here. We're going to drag that shape to the bottom. Text should be on top of the shape, but shape should be on top of the image, and text should be on top of all that. So we're going to drag it up there. Beautiful. I don't know why we have 2 images here. One of them's got to go. Well, I guess we got rid of the wrong one. So add layer, image, WordPress library. Cute image we're working on. Insert. And then we're just going to bring the image to the bottom. And before we do that, we got to make sure the image is covered. Alright, so as you can see, there's a lot of things that can go wrong here, guys. I hope you're getting the hang of all of them. We're going to save now. Alright. Now we're going to go to our site and refresh and see how it looks. So we should have a more narrow image, but if we don't, let's delete that cache. Alright, at least the images are the same size. That's a good thing. They're about 2 to 1. So obviously we need to make them more like 3 to 1 in terms of the width to the height ratio. Alright. Link should be working there. Alright guys, as you can see there, I just rearranged the order of the slides. If you want to look at one slide first, you just have to pull one of them above the other one in this drop down. Pretty cool feature there. Alright, so I'm still not sure why we can't make our slide full width. If you have any ideas why, if you're working Elementor, let me know. Alright, and of course we can recreate that shape and that overlay on the next slide if we want. An easy way to do that would be just to duplicate the slide we're working on right now. So here we are working on it. We can just click on duplicate. Now we get 3 slides. We can just drag that to the number 2 position. Here we are working on it right now, and just click on the image, delete the background image, add layer image, WordPress library. Grab a new image, insert, custom size goes to cover, save it, and we can see because we duplicated it, we still have the text and the shape. We should make sure the image is beneath those. Alright, and then when we refresh, you'll have our first image with the overlay text, and then you should have the second image with the overlay and text. Alright, super cool. So that's how that works. If last but not least you wanted to make sure this overlay goes just the width of the image, let's go back to Slider Revolution. Let's click on shape. We're going to make sure that shape is no wider than the image, so you might have to go to the media library, find the image you're working with, which is 1024 by 597. Let's go back here, and on the shape we're going to make this 1024. Alright, so it should be no wider. Save it, refresh that. Alright, so it didn't quite like that object right there. The X position is a little bit out of whack, so let's make that a 0. And it looks like our image itself is wider because it's 100%. It's in the cover mode, so actually the 1024 number wasn't enough. So let's just go to the shape, and we're going to make that width 100% and save it. Alright, and now let's see how it looks. So that overlay text is not good. We need to edit that one still. But the second overlay text should be perfect. 100% width, not offline, and now you can see you have a actually good looking overlay. Alright, so to change the initial slide, we would just go back to it. We're going to make sure we save the second slide. Now we're going to go to slides, number 1 slide. We're going to click on our shape, make sure that X alignment is a 0 and the width is just 100%, and save it. And now we can see we do have something a little bit better looking. You're just going to need to work with the height of the image, and then if anyone knows how to get that image full width, by all means please do let me know. We can get rid of this white space over here. Looks like some sort of container that's just around our Elementor page right here. Drop me a comment if you know. I think this is enough though for our first video tutorial on the Revolution slider, aka Slider Revolution. Hope you can make some beautiful sliders, and I'll talk to you in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching guys. I'm Greg and Ryan. I'll talk to you soon.